Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It is your Cape Crusader, Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our brand new friend, Jeff Schiller. We're here to break down Magic Powder issues 1, 2, and 3, and everything in between. Jeff, welcome to the stream. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing really good, especially after the last, 28 hours or so of the Kickstarter campaign. I've been feeling pretty good.
Yes, dude. I've seen nothing but just outstanding support left and right. That has to be such an awesome feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, you're just looking at the percentage more than anything else. But the fact that, the backer number is really what matters. Like, that many people have my back right now. Like, what are we at? 124, I think, or so. So, and that's that in 2 days, so that's pretty good. Like, I think the first campaign we only had 150 something, so we're already beating that almost.
Wow.
It's
some awesome numbers. We have J. Michael Miller over on YouTube, so hyped for Magic Powder issue number 3, and Sarah. Yes, I'm new to the series, but very excited to dive in. For everyone watching, here is the Kickstarter. Be sure to check that out. We'll be going a little bit deeper into it in a little bit. But before we do that, Jeff, let's begin with a nice introduction of who you are and how you got into creating comics.
All right. Well, originally I wanted to be, a screenwriter, or originally I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. That was way back when I was 18. Now I'm 36, so that was a lifetime ago. Then I started, I've been writing screenplays since I was a little kid, stuff like that. I graduated high school. I probably finished my first full-length screenplay when I was 17. I've probably written about 20 since then, but I never had any kind of industry connects or anything like that, so I never really went anywhere. I started doing wrestling website that was called Pinfall Magazine, and I did that for I don't know, not even a whole year really. And CM Punk did his Summer of Punk around that time, and it blew up kind of big because I was the first person to post him showing up outside WWE with the title. So it blew up the website. So I ended up selling that website, making that money, just take a trip back home to New Jersey. Giants won the Super Bowl, all that kind of stuff. And then when I got back to Vegas, because I moved to Vegas, and everybody from a couple of video game companies I had met hooked me up with some deals where I could just go, do some WWE stuff like that. Met some people, started doing podcasts, wrestling podcasts, all that kind of thing.
Wow, dude.
It was And I was on this thing called Straight Shoot for a while with another comic creator called Aubrey Sitterson. And then I was also, what else? What did I do after that? Then I started having seizures and stuff, so that really slowed me down for a while. At age 27, I had my first seizure, and that really messed up my whole entire mentality and just ability to do anything. And so then after a while, I got them under control, and I was able to write again. So I self-published unproduced screenplays in 2018. I did a few self-published books. They're on Amazon. You can look them up if you want. But yeah, it was not really anything to talk about. And so I always wanted to make comics, obviously. I always want to make everything. And then eventually I just had the money to do it. Sitting around during the pandemic, found an artist, and we put it together.
So what was some of those earlier screenplays like, in terms of, story and concept?
The very first one I ever really completed was called The Year the Warranties Expire. And it was about basically an island where they built, it was a factory building robots. So the people that lived on the island had the very first generation of the robots. And so basically it starts like a bunch of zombie movies where the guy basically wakes up, he looks around, there's no one around, whatever. So basically the entire island was evacuated. This guy was stoned wherever he was. I think he was in his car in the parking lot. So he fell asleep. Everybody else left, and there's basically the robot zombies are running amok on this island, trying to get off the island to go kill the other humans and stuff. So it's basically just robot zombie movie. It was a horror movie, stoner movie, comedy kind of mix. The next thing I did was called, what was the second one I did? Oh man, I'm trying to think. I think it was a horror movie. Trying to think what the second one was. I don't know, man. But yeah, there was so many. I did like a mafia one but it was an amnesia based one, and amnesia is kind of a weak story. It's just not it wasn't strong really. So I got off of that. What else, man? I've done a Western called Montandan, where it's basically a Western horror where it's the sheriff of a town is trying to find a serial killer around his town. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
I don't think I've really heard of many Western horrors.
Yeah, I don't know if there are a ton. I'm sure there are at least a few. But yeah, it's the budgets for a horror aren't usually that high. And then to do a period piece out of it's probably hard. But I kind of want to do that in a comic book form. pretty much, I have a few other ideas I never even wrote out fully because I wanted to do them as scripts. But now that I'm doing comics, I'm like, ooh, you know, maybe this will actually work better as a comic. Because like I said, you know, they're not really making these kind of movies anyway. So
yeah, and
zombies, like, yeah.
Dude, it's so cool that you had a website for wrestling and, you know, did podcasting for it. What was your favorite era of it? Like, I grew up Attitude Era, so, you know, VHS, you know, had Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestling matches, like, pirated on them. Like, that was me as a kid.
Yeah, and see me, like, yeah, of course, man, NWO, all that stuff. So, like, yeah, my first wrestling memory I really have is probably, like, you know, around when the Big Boss Man and the Bushwhackers were around, stuff like that, with Hulk Hogan, stuff like that. A little after the first WrestleMania. And then, yeah, like I said, when NWO happened, I never had even seen WCW, but Scott Hall was Razor Ramon. That was my favorite wrestler. So I was like, all right, let's see what's going on with that. And then I got hooked on that. So I would watch, you know, all the Monday night stuff, Raw, you know, everything. So then ECW, when that started airing, I would watch that, dude. I was hooked on wrestling forever.
Oh, God, dude, when the Dudley Brothers came to the WWF for the first time, dude. Oh, it was so chaotic, man.
Yeah, the TLC matches and everything, ladder matches, all that stuff with the Hardys and Edge and Christian, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the 3D is like possibly the greatest finisher of all time.
Yes, I mean, they did it to an old lady, didn't they?
Yeah, Mae Young. I mean, I know they at least powerbombed Mae Young off the top rope to the table. I don't know if they hit it with a 3D. They probably did, though, honestly. And so, Moolah probably too. So.
It's I thought it was interesting too that you did a mafia screenplay, because Magic Powder has a big mafia feel to it. Would you say that some of the influences for it, you know, come from mafia films?
I've never seen a mafia film in my life, actually, so it's a coincidence completely. No, I'm just kidding, obviously. No, I would say, yeah, obviously Dwarvfather is based on like a Godfather concept, stuff like that. But the entire idea came from me basically because I watched so many damn crime TV shows, crime movies, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like it's all kind of been done on Earth. So I was like, well, let's try a fantasy version of this, you know what I mean? So that's the kind of thing that, and like Shadowrun, I don't know if you know about that game series, you know, it's like a tabletop game. It's a video game series. I'm sure there's a couple of books, all that kind of stuff. So that really influenced me heavily too. But I didn't want to have any humans in my story, you know what I mean? So that's the difference. And it's not cyberpunk either, but there's a lot of like, you know, guns with orcs and stuff like that in Shadowrun as well.
I really like...
overall...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's cool. I was just going to say overall what really influenced me was I was watching Fargo season 4 and the show Gomorrah at the same time, because there's an actor in both of them. And like, you know, Gomorrah takes place in Italy, and I was watching Italy, you know, and the places they film it, it's like the Italian projects in like Naples and stuff. And so to me, like, you know, I didn't even really know how that existed until I watched this show. And then I started reading about it and stuff like that. Roberto Saviano is the guy who like covered it and then made a book about it, and that's why the show exists. But anyway, so like, yeah, I seen all this, like, you see like project buildings on top of ancient Rome, basically. And so that kind of gave me that idea of like, oh, like a, you know, gangster story on top of like, you know, Lord of the Rings or something, you know what I mean? Like that.
That's exactly how I felt. Like it was like some mafia filled, like drug filled, like Lord of the Rings, like comic. I was like, dude, this is like awesome. And the way the art style is, I think it like fits perfect, because you can dabble that like that. I don't know the word I'm feeling, like the gangster vibe with like the gore. It goes like perfectly, man. I loved every bit of it. Who was your creative team on this?
On the interior art, it's Daniele Aquilani, who's actually out of Italy, and that's a total coincidence that like we got together and I told him like that's what inspired me, you know. So it's like perfect. Like he lives out there, so he brings everything to it. So it's like, you know, I think Thesz, the city that it mostly takes place in, is inspired by where he's from in Italy, you know, the parts of Italy that Gomorrah takes place in, and then kind of like New York too. I wanted to have that kind of, you know, vibe, but not like current New York, more like, you know, the Warriors kind of New York. And so yeah, that kind of thing. And then so the interiors are Daniele Aquilani. The cover art has been Samuel Awunzi out of Nigeria, and that's my main man. He's working on other people's stuff now. I think he did some on Worlds Away with Damien Becton, and he did he's doing something with Tights. Chris, I don't know how to pronounce Chris's name. I've never really heard it out loud, so I don't. Chris W over there. But yeah, so the Tights comic book right now, they're on Kickstarter. Sam has a poster, like a movie poster, like print they're doing for him, and it's dope. It's like a James Bond kind of feel, so that's really cool. And it's nothing like
Tights is such a crazy concept too, right? Like I love it, man.
And it's funny because like one of the screenplays I put in my unproduced screenplays book is called The Public Defender. And it's about a superhero who's like basically like a retired lawyer that became a superhero, and he was like a district attorney, hence the public defender. But yeah, so that's funny. Like in his whole thing's like it's a judge versus superheroes, and I'm like, oh man, I should tell about that. But yeah, it's hilarious. But yeah, I can't wait to see more Tights. Tights is one of the few comic books I actually had enough money to back when it first came around, and I'm backing it this time. And so yeah, I'm excited about that. So yeah, like Sam's on that, my cover artist. Matt Harding did the variant cover for issue 2. And Matt Harding agreed to do the variant cover if we hit the stretch goal of $6,000 on this campaign. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah,
and then my sister Raven does all the rest of the stuff, like the Thesz report. She put that together with the art that Danielle made, and then she does all the the graphics and stuff on the Kickstarters and everything like that. So yeah, that's it. And then I write it. I write it.
That's cool that you're able to have your sister involved on it too, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool for me because she does shit I can't do, so so it's very convenient that she agrees to do it. But it's one of those things, like growing up, like she's always worked on like graphic design and stuff like that. So she's done like the covers, like all of my books that I ever put out, she did the covers for them and stuff like that. So so Raven's always we always work together. So it's cool, having both our names on it and stuff like that. I hope she likes it as much as I like having it. But yeah, it's fun working together. And then that's pretty much it. That's the whole team, man. I promote it all the time. Sam's on Instagram promoting it. Danielle, he'll post on Reddit once in a while. Raven, she don't really, she don't got time for this social media gimmick. She's too busy playing video games and enjoying her life. And that's it, man. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole team. Hopefully, I kind of want to do other things, but most of all, I just want to keep this team together, at least for the first 6 issues, the story arc I have planned.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you mentioned the Pez report?
Thesz report.
Thesz report. Sorry about that. That was so in the first issue, that was the thing like on the first page, right?
Yeah, that's it's like it was digital only, but now you can get it on this campaign. It's the physical copy now. So like when you back this campaign, you can get issue 3, or you can do, because I didn't want to do a variant cover again, so I made a whole lore book. So you get the lore book and the comic. So you get a bunch of story instead of just 2 of the exact same comic book.
Okay. So
I don't think a lot of people are going for that yet. A lot of people are not really.
Is that what the report is though? It gives you the backstory?
Yeah, the Thesz report is literally, it's a character that you'll meet in issue 4 who basically has a power where, it's kind of like Bran in Game of Thrones, like a sightseer kind of thing, where he can see through everybody's eyes like a warg, and he can, see anything that's going on. He could, and it's not even a he, it's actually a she, but I didn't want to reveal who it was or anything. But but yeah, so this character, basically, Strange Light is the name of the character. They can see, so she sits there basically in her room all day with like a thing on her head that's connected to like a VCR that records everything that she sees, and she just flips channels in her head like through the eyes of the people in the town. And so that's kind of like the Thesz report's based on all the information this person has gathered about all this.
Insane, dude. I love it. Holy crap. I love just the concept of it, like flipping through her head like a TV channel, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to that issue. Like that's something like, I really want to get to. Like in this issue on the cover, you see the giant dwarves, like not the giant dwarves, but the giant drill the dwarves have, and they're coming under the Minotaur and stuff. Like I've been waiting to get to this scene where it's like, like I wanted to show some, fantasy kind of action in the, universe. It's not just all like, regular gunfights and stuff like that,
No, absolutely. We have Sarah over on YouTube saying, "Oh heck yeah, Shadowrun," about the Shadowrun influence earlier. So, what's Magic Powder issue 1 about? Can you give us a little bit of a concept for what that story is?
Like you wanted like an actual like synopsis of what happens?
Yeah, or just whatever you want to break down about it. Just so we can start building up to like issue 2.
Okay, so my whole idea was basically like the city that it takes place in Thesz is basically free of laws. So the only people that control the laws are the people there with the power. So who has the power? The cartels that have the magic powder, because it's the only place in the world you can buy it legally. So people will come from other parts of the world just to even get some magic powder, just to try it out, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Kind of almost like an Amsterdam thing when weed was only legal there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of got that kind of thing going on. So now what happens is at the beginning of the story, the Dwarvfather decides he wants to make a new deal with his magic powder supplier. And he sets up all these, convoluted things to try and set this up. And then there's an elf that lives in a totally different country, sees this on the news. And he's been planning his whole life to try and get in on the magic powder trade. And this is his chance. So he contacts a guy that owes him a favor. It goes down to the city and tries to cause some trouble for
That
him.
dude was not happy about that favor getting called in either. Holy crap.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I mean, it's one of these things too. Like you've seen the second issue, so you kind of see why he owes him the favor. Because as it goes with elves, like if you're not allowed, murder is the worst thing you could ever commit, obviously, in any reality, really. But if you ever killed somebody, like he killed his wife, and then Zjah, the librarian, came and brought her back to life and stuff because he's got that necromancy kind of powers. But like if he didn't do that for him, like it's worse than death what they do. I don't even want to spoil it because eventually I want to show it. But yeah, so he owes him his life essentially. So that's why he had to go do all that crazy shit for him.
That librarian dude kind of reminds me of like Walter White. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like just the vibe that he has, like he is just like a straight badass dude. Yeah,
he's definitely got that's totally the idea. I want him to be like a Heisenberg type feeling, you know what I mean? Like here's this nerd trying to like show what he can do with his nerd powers. Dude. And he's the only person basically so far anyway that knows how to use magic. So like that's the thing. So like instead of using just regular science, he uses magic, that kind of thing. But yeah, he's totally got that. But someone told me, like my friend Steve came over one time and I had the cover up on the on my computer background. And he goes, yo, that elf looks like the nihilist from The Big Lebowski that's like smashing everything when he's walking out of it. He owes $1 million, that guy, like with the long hair. And I was like, man, he does look like that. Like if you had to cast this right now, like that would be the guy that plays Zjah. But yeah, overall, like his character is definitely based on like a Walter White kind of thing. Breaking Bad. I say a lot of times like it's like D&D meets The Wire, but it's also like D&D meets Breaking Bad, that kind of thing. Lord of the Rings meets Breaking Bad. Because like it's a lot more action packed. I don't want it to be too somber, you know what I mean? Like Gamora and The Wire are really serious situations in reality, you know what I mean? This is a fantasy thing. So, but even like Breaking Bad, like it's crazy, but the reality of it is like it's about a guy who doesn't get paid well enough to be a teacher. There's no free healthcare, and he has to resort to doing horrible things to make money. Yeah. But that nothing's changed. So it's just nice to be like.
J. Michael Miller over on YouTube just added the Thesz report to my pledge. Hell yeah, man. Let's get some hype in the chat. So it looks like you just got someone biting.
Nice, man. Nice.
Man, I'm also interested. We get a glimpse of what I felt like was potentially like a protagonist. It looks like he's hacking something. It looks like it's extremely valuable too in the first issue, a glowing sword. But that's all we get, and then we don't really see much from him anymore either. So what significance does he have to the story?
So Breaker, you see him at the beginning of every issue. He's a goblin. He's not really affiliated, but he has an addiction, obviously. He's almost like the Bubbles of The Wire, where it's like you get to see the street level from his point of view. So you get to basically see every issue, what's happening in Thesz because of all the things that Zjah and the Dwarvfather and Arana and all the orcs, what their choices have actually, wrought on the town and stuff like that. So, we get... in the newest issue, like the very first page, which is also like the Kickstarter like thing, is like him in a messy ass room, just a destroyed ass room to show it's all a mess, you know what I mean? And then everything that happens to him in the third issue just shows like he can't even find anywhere to go anymore. He doesn't know where to be. Like there's nowhere safe for a guy like him anymore. And that town is about people like him, so he doesn't know what to do. And we'll see what happens with as far as like the significance of that. But I just mostly wanted a character that's not a gangster. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that you can have as like someone to relate to, kind of. So for the reader. Yeah, but like I was telling you, my bad.
No, go ahead.
I was telling you before we even started, just that I don't want a main character at all, really, because I don't want anyone to know who's gonna die, when they're gonna die, anything like that. Because like in real life, that's just how it is. There's no main character, so I don't want there to be a main character in the story. Like I've written stories with main characters, so I don't have no problem with that. But this is not a main character type thing, Magic Powder. Even if there's spin-offs or maybe there's like one-off issues, stuff like that focus on one character, that's not gonna be a main thing. You know what I mean? That'll never be the case every issue.
No, I got you. And
hell yeah, you do.
I love how he also in issue 2. We see him playing guitar, and then a pretty big character of importance passes him, throws him a couple coins, ends up being a hitman. And I was like, man, what an awesome way to kind of just introduce those characters like that.
Yeah, and so there's a couple things about that scene that I don't know if everybody realizes, but so first of all, he's playing a guitar with broken strings because he's a broke-ass drug addict. So that's one of the things you got to notice. And that's actually my avatar on Twitter, so or Instagram actually. So if anyone follows me at Schiller, you'll see what I'm talking about, even if you haven't read the issue yet. And also, so he gets the idea, the Minotaur Fazul, he gets the idea while he's walking by Breaker to use a guitar case, you know, to put his minigun in while he's walking by him. Then he flips the coins in, like kind of. So he didn't even give it to him for free. He gave it to him for the idea. You know what I'm saying?
No, I gotcha.
So, and then eventually he doesn't even use a guitar case. It looks like a guitar case because he's gigantic, but it's more of like a big orchestra case. You know what I mean? I don't know what instrument yet, because who knows if it's actually like an earth-based instrument or something else. But it's bigger than a guitar case. You know what I mean? That's why that whole minigun fits in it.
Almost like a cello.
Yeah, exactly. It's straight up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I played cello in 7th grade, so that's kind of like a bit of an influence on it too. And then you said the whole thing about like, you know, just tossing the coin and all that kind of stuff. So it's like even that like is a part of like a Witcher like influence, and just all these random things. Like it's like, because like to me, I explained it one time on a different show, but it's like, you know, the whole world to me is just like everything I like put together. You know what I mean? Whatever I can fit in, I fit in. You know what I mean? Like certain characters look like certain actors I like that I would have liked to work with, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I don't know if I want to mention it because then they'll sue me. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I just love the Goblin, man. He you know, smoking, skateboarding, just chilling, playing guitar.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? Like, dude, like one of the chillest vibes, you know, in this world. It feels like
he gets a little bit more of a edge in the start of the 4th issue. So you guys will see that, you know what I mean? The 3rd issue, like I said, you already see what's going on in the 3rd issue, but the way he comes out in the 4th issue, you'll find about more what his like role in the city is, because he definitely plays the part. And then also, as far as the glowing sword goes that you mentioned earlier, also, I didn't have any plans for it, but my buddy Brandon, I was hanging out at his house. He's like, "What are you gonna do with that sword, man?" And so I was like, "Yeah, I guess I gotta bring the sword back." So you guys will see the sword again.
Okay. I was gonna say it was glowing. There had to be some significance to it. It had to have been important.
To me, the significance was like, here's this cool fantasy object, and this guy doesn't give a crap about it because he wants drugs. And so that was kind of like the whole tone being said of what this is. Like, this ain't gonna be no damn fantasy show. This is just some sad drug story. Like, you know what I mean? A bunch of criminals doing criminal shit. But like I said, I'm introducing there'll be some like heroic type characters, like almost like a Omar in The Wire or something like that. You know what I mean? Like Heisenberg's not a damn hero. So
yeah.
He might be fun to watch, but he's definitely not a hero. Or Tony Soprano, you know what I mean? Like those guys. But those are the shows that I enjoy. So I guess there's something to the anti-character, the antagonist, anti-hero thing. So
let's go ahead. I think right now would be the perfect segue, though, kind of building things up. Let's check out the Kickstarter you're currently running, and check out, you know, what tiers and everything you have going on. This is so this would be your fourth Kickstarter, right? Because you did Kickstarters for issue 1, 2, and then the coloring book, if I'm not mistaken.
Correctamundo, yes sir. And actually, like I don't even know what year it was, 2014, 15. I was working with a friend of mine, and he tried to do a Kickstarter for a video game, and I was gonna write that. So I guess, you know, I was part of that. I was part of the pre-production stuff like that. But I don't even remember what we went for, but it just didn't work out. But you know, we have another video game planned, a Magic Powder video game planned. And I think that'll be a lot more reasonably priced, and we'll figure that out and stuff.
Ooh,
but like,
so there's a game in the making?
Yeah, and there's like a concept art on my Instagram and stuff like that. And Danielle's already worked on some of the art for me, and Chris. And yeah, man, I'm pretty excited about that. If you see the name Chris Michael on the thank you pages, that's who's doing all the actual video game developing and stuff like that. Let me get this light out of here. But yeah, so freaking A, man. So yeah, I'm excited about the Magic Powder video game. It's gonna have like I think a Hotline Miami kind of feel to it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, because I just love games like that, and there's not enough of them. So I'm like, well, it'd be cool to have a game of our own. So we'll see how that goes. I really would like to make 1 million different Magic Powder things, man. Like,
dude, you can even do like, oh man, like an old school GTA, like the top down version. That would be so fire.
That's a huge inspiration on this, man. Like this one, I want it to be more like Hotline Miami, just so it's more like easier for us to make as a first game, you know. But like, yeah, eventually I would love to do open world. You know, you guys get to like make a character. Also, I don't know if you ever played the Sega Shadowrun, but Sega Genesis Shadowrun's my favorite game ever. And that's a top-down RPG open world game from the 16-bit era. And you could play missions nonstop. There's an infinite amount of missions you could play if you don't want to finish the game, you know? So it's really cool. And they're called runs or whatever. But basically you go meet like a guy in a bar. He gives you a fucking crime to go do. You go do heists all day. And yeah, I love that game. So like, yeah, I kind of want to do something like that eventually.
It's crazy they were capable of that back then, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. It blew my mind. Like, you know, you talk about Grand Theft Auto. I played that pretty early on when it came out too, but man, Sega Channel. We had Sega Channel, and Shadowrun was on there. I discovered it on there, and I was hooked. I still have my copy of it and everything like that. I freaking love that game.
Yeah, because I don't think I played that on the Sega, but I played a lot of like different ones, like Golden Age. I think was maybe a close to somewhat of an RPG, and the way it would save, because it didn't have the battery, you had to use the codes. I think it was one of the games where they gave you codes, so you had to write the code down to play it next time. Like,
oh man, there's so many games like that. But yeah, luckily Sega, or not Sega, but Shadowrun had actual saving capabilities and stuff. But the thing was, if somebody else wanted to play on the game and save, they would save over your game.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that happened. My brother and me saved over one of each other's games, I think, at one point. But yeah, so excuse me. But yeah, so like, yeah, as far as that goes, that's the future plans.
Yeah. So let's check out what's in the now right now, and that's Magic Powder issue 1, 2, and 3, newest issue of the fantasy crime series. The Dwarvfather busts out, the elf Zjah makes plans, Oz surveys his new kingdom, and Arana has an epiphany, and much more. Currently at $1,594 of a $5,000 goal, 124 backers, and 28 days to go. So in 2 days, holy crap, man! This is awesome.
I mean, it's definitely, the best I've ever started. If this was only a one issue thing, we would already been funded. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that we got to print so many issues. It's got to be a little bit fatter than that, and it is what it is. But I'm excited, man. Yeah, because I think our first goal ever was, I don't even know, 1,500, maybe 1,600.
Wow.
So we're about there. Yeah.
So how does it feel after running a couple Kickstarters, and hitting this goal in just a few days? Like, it has to be a pretty good feeling.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, we have a long way to go, so I don't want to get cocky. But like, yeah, having 124 backers that quickly, it's just cool having people that got to it that fast. You know what I mean? Like, because there's a lot going on in the world. So the fact that many people are like, all right, I'm gonna stop and do this, it's cool. It helps build the momentum and stuff like that. Other people get confidence seeing that. So hopefully, we get there. That's all it is. If we get there, I'm gonna be super happy. So it's like, yeah, I don't want to jinx it yet. I'm not super happy yet, but I do, I feel love from everybody. So that's cool, man. That's all you can really ask for. Because if we mess it up, and we just do it again. So it is what it is.
We have J. Michael Miller. I loved the Sega Channel. I don't think I ever got a chance to watch that. Was that like a series on YouTube?
No, my man. It was literally a cartridge you could plug into your into your Sega Genesis, and it gave you video games. So at the end of the month, every month, you'd wake up and it was like Christmas. You had a whole new background. You had all the genres changed, and you click on it, it would be all new games and stuff. Like that's where I tried Comic Zone. That's where I tried Golden Axe the first time, like you were talking about.
That sounds like a jump pack, almost like they did for PlayStations.
Oh man, it was like, it was ahead of the times, man. It was like having the internet. It's like now with Xbox Live Arcade or something like that. But every game you already paid for. You know what I mean? You I mean, it wasn't even that. You just paid for a subscription, so you just everything was free on that.
I don't know how I missed out on that, man. I don't know at all.
I'm just lucky. For some reason, my dad was hip on all the video game stuff. Or if he wasn't, we told him and he'd let us get it anyway. But speaking of Grand Theft Auto, the very first one, man, he picked me up from I think 6th grade, maybe 7th grade. And he was like, "You got to check this out." And I didn't even live with my dad at the time. And he still swooped me up from school. Usually I walked home from school. He's like, "Yo, check this out." We went to his house on PC and tried Grand Theft Auto for the first time, man. And it was the coolest thing ever.
Dude, it was unreal because there was no games ever like it,
Yeah. Still, to this day.
Hold on. We are getting too far off tangent. Let's reel it back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all over the place. Yeah, let's go.
No, I can talk about this all day long. I love retro. I got a whole shelf right behind me filled with them. Dude, that's my thing.
Man.
But let's check out this video real quick. Just a heads up, you won't be able to hear any of the audio, but we'll be able to hear it loud and clear on our end, just to give you that courtesy heads up.
It's mostly just my face anyway, so I don't know if there's really much to see without the audio. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Magic Powder issue 3 Kickstarter. I'll keep this short so you guys can get to the backing. So we've already done issue 1. We've done issue 2, and we've tried
to
make it as quick as possible, because I noticed in my earlier campaigns nobody was really finishing
Magic Powder issue number 3.
The video,
we got
and
the
this
same
time I
team as
feel like
always on Jeff the writer. We got Danielle usually doing all keeping the it interiors, 1-2 minutes is the sweet spot for a lot of different
Samuel
platforms.
and Woozy out of Nigeria.
And I wanted to do a cool trailer kind of
and
thing.
then we have my sister doing the
I just don't have the ability to pull that off right now.
This time, instead of doing a very
man, even just uploading
so check that out if you want to get a little bit extra taste of what's going on in Magic Powder.
Hopefully by the end of the year,
I can things for you guys like stickers and things like that. So check it out. Keeping it short and sweet.
Even like you said, video games. I can't even jam with you guys when you guys are playing multiplayer.
With other campaigns, you got to worry about
I
it.
know we've been talking about Elden Ring for so long.
We've proven to come through.
Yes,
with
it
the
will,
goods.
man. So yeah, I just
back
love it
magic
all.
powder today,
Yeah,
and
I'm
we'll get it to
Puma in
you
there.
tomorrow.
You gotta have that for Wall-Clad Fraser. I've been rocking that for the Knicks always. But yeah, there's not much to see in the video. The whole reason I did the video is basically to show new people that we produced, 3 things already. That's why I just kept being like, boom, we did it. Don't doubt us. Come on with it. If you think it looks cool, you're gonna get it. That was the whole reason I did the video.
Has it been 48 hours since it's launched yet, or how many hours do backers have to get this sticker?
You still got another 14 hours basically, and I mean, when it comes to me, I give or take. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're close enough, you get it. If your reason you back is you want that sticker, it's still there to buy anyway. But I want.
And then right here's the big the big cello like suitcase for the dude. That Gatling gun, that setup, I was like, dude, this is so clutch and clean. The way he like just opens it up and he starts getting the barrels of ammunition out.
Yeah, a big part of issue 2 was inspired by Leon the Professional, and people who know the movie and read the comic, or maybe you don't notice the first time, but if you know that going into it, maybe you'll notice. Because even right here, like, his whole look, like his hat and everything, the goatee. I mean, it's hard to tell because he's a freaking Minotaur, but that's kind of the thing. Yeah, so it's like Jean Reno as a Minotaur.
So the second you said that, I was like, the sunglasses, like right away, I was like, holy crap, like click. Like that, I remember watching that film a couple years back and just how insane it was, dude.
Yeah, and like to me, that was the whole thing. It's like I wanted to, like that little thing. Like Matt Harding did that. That sticker is art from the cover of the variant of issue 2, and so the whole idea right there is like, yeah, you got Leon the Professional mixed with El Mariachi.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That was the whole idea for me, which is like as a '90s guy, or like growing up during that time, like that's big influences. So I just kind of wanted to. Boom, put it all together, and like boom, Matt, phew, that's awesome. I just love the way he pulled it off. I love that cover, man. Like if you guys were lucky enough to get that variant, good job. I don't have many of them.
I think I got the regular cover. Yeah, I got this one.
Yeah, I love that. Don't get me wrong, I love that one too, but that one's gonna be more available. You know what I mean? Like the other one's not. So like
So, Magic Powder takes place in a fantasy world that has a modern feel. While the realm is vast, the majority of our tale takes place in the free city of Thesz. It follows the Dwarvfather's Magic Powder cartel, and it's all crumbling down due to one bored elf. So, Magic Powder, aka fairy dust, what type of drug is that supposed to be modeled after? It seems like a rather unique type of experience.
Yeah, it's more than it's it's anything I want it to be, basically. You know what I mean? It's like a MacGuffin, basically. But like, that's why even when you see in the very first page of issue 3, there's all kinds of things. There's like a bong, there's like syringes, there's all kinds of different things, because like magic powder can be used so many different ways. You could snort it, and they all have different effects, stuff like that. But I'll reveal all that kind of stuff later for the most part. But like originally, fairy dust was used by the elves because it was almost like a Lawrence Taylor effect, where they became stronger than everybody else by using this fairy dust, and so they were able to basically take over the world. You know what I mean? Enforce their will on everybody. The only races that weren't stopped, or like species that weren't stopped, were basically giants, because elves really they can't even hurt giants. Giants are so gigantic. But there's like a peace kind of thing where giants just live on their own part of the planet and no one messes with them for the most part. And then there's also another continent that the elves have no real jurisdiction over, and that's run by dragons, but we will get there later,
No,
but
I'm loving this world.
Dragons are not gigantic. Yeah, dragons are not gigantic in this world, though. They they wear clothes, they handle guns, stuff like that. They have magical powers of their own. But but that's why the elves couldn't finish them, because and the dragons actually have their own fairies and stuff like that. There's a whole thing where you're going to see the difference between how the elves treat fairies in this world and how the dragons treat fairies in this world. It's a lot different. So
are the fairies like a symbolism for anything?
I mean, that's up to you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I gotcha.
It's a fantasy world, so I'm not gonna, nothing is anything other than what it is. Yeah. But like, obviously, I'm influenced by everything I've experienced. So there's things that but nothing is one thing. So I mean, it depends, because I've actually talked to some people about it and they see it different ways. So like, but I mean, it's basically just anyone who's been like, because the thing with the fairies is like, originally they were gigantic too, because giants use fairies basically to like, they can eat them and stuff. And then the evolution basically happened to where fairies were too small for giants to even see anymore. And then it came to a thing where it's like the fairy dust ended up making the crops grow faster anyway, so giants started becoming vegetarian, so now giants aren't even as big as they were when they were eating fairies, stuff like that. And there's actually an entire land, which is where the dragons live now, that it looks like it's a desert, but it's all reddish, pinkish kind of, because it's not even dirt. It's just fairies live there so long that the fairy dust built up, and it's just like a giant.
Oh, that would be probably heaven for people, right?
Yeah, well, there's certain characters that it would be, you know what I mean? And so, you know, it just depends what happens. So, like, yeah, I'll get to that all eventually. But in the first 6 issues, it's contained to Thesz, and that's pronounced like Thesz because I wanted to, you know, base it off of somebody awesome. So that's who that's named after. And it just sounds like a fantasy name. That's an old wrestler. But yeah, so I just love me some Thesz as far as like pro wrestling references go. And yeah, that's pretty much that as far as it is. But yeah, the whole world is just nuts, man. And the fairy dust, like I said, it wasn't just a drug. Like they use it for other things, like I said, like growing crops and stuff like that. And I'll just try and like incorporate that more and more into the lore. But I don't want it to be like spelled out too much. You know what I mean? Like you'll see it. Yeah. That's how you figure it out.
So here is a look at some of the preview images. And here is the cover, and man, this is a gorgeous cover. So what's going on here? You said this drill was meant for the Dwarvfather?
Well, no, he sent these guys to
go
get this Minotaur, basically. That's what's up. The guy in the black shirt right there, that's the Dwarvfather's driver in the very first issue. So he's around all the time, and he's got a backstory and stuff in the Thesz report and everything like that, and a name and everything. And then the guy using the drill, he's based off of, like, he's supposed to look like Fat Clemenza from The Godfather, but as a dwarf. And then the other 2 guys are actually people who bought characters last time, because we have tiers on our campaign where you can be a background character or you can be a speaking character, and that's 2 of the background characters, and they were just lucky enough that their characters also got to be on the cover because of the scene.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah,
so they're in actually a bunch of scenes just because of the characters they ended up being. But yeah, and there's a few other ones, like my man Anthony LaFauci off of We Have Issues podcast. He's going to show up as an elf, and my man Chris, who's making the video game, is also going to show up as an elf, and they kind of work together. They have like speaking parts and stuff like that. My friend Jason is the orc you see in the preview pages that we're about to get to, just stuff like that. So it's cool having like my friends like in the actual world now and stuff. So that's just like, it's crazy, man. But yeah, so that's like one of those things. If you guys ever want to come into the world, there's those tiers for that. So feel free. I know I didn't actually purchase any for this issue yet, so they're there.
Oh, that's cool. And I loved how like in issue 2 the Dwarvfather has like this whole like hierarchy, like in prison, like he's the boss, like in prison too. Like it's because in issue 1 you kind of see him like give him it, I was left wondering if he gave himself up willingly or if they left him. And going into issue 2 reading it, it's like, oh well, he just gave himself up because he has it made in there, that he's not hurting for anything.
Yeah, because the real thing is, like, and this is the thing that's going to piss off the goblins, is he sacrificed the goblin to do this. But in the dungeons, he's safer from the people that, he's starting a war with. Because his whole thing at the very beginning of the issue is, I want more money for the magic powder, basically. That I'm doing all the work over here. You guys are supplying it, whatever. So the guy that supplies it is dangerous. So he goes to the dungeons basically to hide out. You know what I mean? That's to protect himself. But the thing is, he was selfish the way he did it. So everybody else in town got left hanging, and that's where Zjah came in and took advantage and stuff. So that's why, like, all of a sudden magic powder is illegal, all this stuff. It's all the Dwarvfather pulling the strings. Like in the city of Thesz, it's a lawless city. So if you're in the dungeons, it's because you want to be in the dungeons, basically.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? It's like people who want to get away from their wife, or people who just can't stop doing drugs, or you know what I mean? It's like almost a rehab. It's all kinds of different things. And so, in this case, it's a castle to hide in for the Dwarvfather as well.
Were you a skater growing up as well?
I mean, I skated a little bit, but I was never really good at it. You know what I mean? I skated more when I was like in middle school and stuff. But I love skateboarding. I love like playing skateboard video games, all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, no, I wasn't ever a great skater or nothing. I was too busy, playing basketball and stuff like that. And I just never had really another skateboard after a while. But I had one, like, I just sucked at it, really. I wasn't good at it. And it's like nowadays I always want to do it, but I'm too worried about breaking my ankles and stuff.
Oh my God, yeah. It's like once you hit like past 25, if you fall, like that's game over.
Yeah, because then it starts costing you money, and it's like, it ain't worth it. So like that's why I bowl now. You know what I mean? Because it's just the easiest sport to play. Because I like playing sports my whole life, but yes, skateboarding I didn't get to do it as much as I would like to. Like 5th grade, I got to learn how to do an ollie. I never really figured out how to do a kickflip. I can skate a little bit, but man, I see guys skating down the sidewalks like, all day. Like they don't even care that there's cars flying by. Like, yeah, right, man. I'll be nervous driving. Like I couldn't skate like that. And we have a ton of skate parks in Vegas too, but I could never drop in or anything like that.
I do. I remember the one time at a skate park because I used to be a skater, and it was my first time dropping it on like a vert drop. So it was like a foot and a half of just like straight like up in the air. And my buddy's like, dude, all you gotta do is just stomp down. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I stomp down. Next thing I know, like I'm waking up and I'm like, holy fuck, half my body feels numb. Like, what happened?
Dude, one time my buddy Matt was trying to so this guy Clayton built an entire like quarter pipe. When I was actually a half pipe in my buddy Kirk's, like, I don't even know what you would call it, like his front yard. It was like a giant front yard. Like they had this big ass house that eventually burned down and stuff. But anyway, he built this quarter pipe, this guy Clayton. So me and my buddy Matt, we come to this place because that's where he jams with his band. So I'm just there to get high and hang out. So we get stoned, we get out of his car, we walk past the thing, and Matt, who's never skateboarded a day in his life, is like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. So he just climbs up this thing, and it's gotta be, I don't know, 8-foot drop. And he's like, boom, drops in, eats shit. Boom, drops it again. He must have done it like 10, 15 times, man. I'm just dying laughing, hoping he doesn't kill himself. It was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And no one else was even there to see it. But I still remember it to this day, man. And actually, that's funny because that blue guy right there with the hat on right there, that's actually my buddy Matt that I'm talking about.
Oh.
So you'll see him more later when he does have the mask on.
Is what's going on here? Are these like, elves and goblins like doing a heist or?
So yeah, that's a goblin, a dwarf, and another goblin. And they're all, and that's an orc, obviously, with them, with the beard. That's my buddy Jason. They robbed a bunch of dwarves. That's the Dwarvfather's guys right there. So that's like a stash house, and they just, here we go. He's like coming upon it. He sees his buddy because he knows the orc, and so he's saying what up to the orc, and the orc's like, get out of here, man, because he's like the watch out, he's the lookout while they're robbing this place. And boom, here's all these dwarves that got hemmed up. The one guy got the garbage can on his head. But yeah, I love that scene.
Oh,
and
and then it looks like our man of the hour has a family, so I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, he don't live in Thesz. He lives out of town. That's why at the end of issue 2, you see him leaving town. And so that's basically why he took the job, is because he wanted the money for his family, stuff like that. But that's also why he's got something to lose too. Like, that's the number one thing in most crime stories. Like, you always got a family, so that's why a lot of these guys, take the pill when they got to take the pill, man.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. So he's gonna fight when he can, But for the most part, he tells his wife, go hide.
This looks so good too.
Oh man, and I added another page actually today. Since we got so many backers, I was like, I'll add the 6th page, and boom, there's that. Looking pretty good.
So these are cops?
Yeah, those are knights. They're called knights.
Knights. Yep.
Yeah, we don't have cops, okay, bro? Because all cops are not in the comic book. But anyway, we got that's a goblin, and that's also a gorgon behind him with snake hair. And so they come. I love the mythical creatures, man. Yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun that I could just bring whatever I want into it, and then like Danielle just makes it happen. It's amazing. But see, this knight right here with the megaphone, he's in the first issue, and you'll be seeing him more like down the road.
The knights were in the first issue too, right? You've seen the backside of their vest.
Yeah, and it's spelled wrong, and I'm gonna pretend it was on purpose because the Thesz Knights have no funding or anything. I
would have never noticed, to be honest.
Nobody noticed except this guy Benjamin Hall, who did a review and pointed it out to me.
You're like, fuck you, Benjamin.
Nah, I'm actually happy he pointed it out to me because, like, man, it was like, it's the last review that I think ever happened to the first issue so far. And, he pointed it out. He's like, I don't know if this is on purpose or not. He said that in the review, and it wasn't on purpose. But thanks for pointing it out for me, because now I'm going to make a joke about it in the comic eventually. It's like, no, now we're going to get some gear that actually has it spelled right, that kind of thing. But anyway, awesome. So the Knights were in the first issue. I'm trying to think if they're in the second issue at all. Not that I can really remember. There's like guards and stuff, but
yeah, the COs of the prisoner.
Yeah. So in these dwarves, you're like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah, this is gorgeous. This is when you were scripting, for issues 1, 2, and 3, like, how different was that for you from scripting a film? I heard it was a pretty similar experience.
It is not at all a similar
experience.
No, not at all. No. Because first of all, like, screenwriting is basically the most formulaic kind of writing you could ever do. As far as like, yeah, both ways, honestly. There's literally like outlines of how you do everything. Everything's formatted for you, stuff like that. And then second of all, most movies and TV shows are like, colored by, paint by numbers. So it's just not what you want to be doing as far as writing goes. So when it comes to the scripting and storyboarding, I read Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud, I believe. And I mean, I read that thing for years and years and years, and it always kind of like, I pick up things here and there and pick up things here and there. And, I always wanted to do comics. My whole life I wanted to do comics. So like, I just eventually, I mean, as far as making a movie goes, if you do the script and the storyboard combined, it's like making a comic book. But if you just do a regular script, I don't know. I don't know if everyone else does storyboards for their comics. I storyboard my comics. And then Danielle will change things. Don't get me wrong. He'll change the perspectives and things like that. He'll fit it how he can fit it and stuff like that. But I show him how I want it. And I think a lot of that is seeing Harvey Pekar do it in, American Splendor, and being like, oh, okay, I'll just do stick figure storyboards and whatever, and then I'll just define what they are in the script. So yeah, it's a lot different. I'm mostly describing what my storyboards are than I am writing a screenplay, But even the descriptions. I'm sorry, my bad.
No, you can go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, even a lot of my descriptions and stuff, I put what I can put and all that kind of stuff. But Danielle takes it to another level as far as the details goes. Like we created this world together, because a lot of this stuff, he just puts it and it's there, and it's that's where it needs to be. It's just crazy, like the graffiti and stuff like that. Unless it's some piece of specific graffiti that I want, which I haven't asked for yet. You know what I mean? Even he puts posters, campaign posters, just random stuff, man. I just love it.
No, that's awesome. I was about to say, I think letting your artist kind of have a bit more control really worked out in the end, because this world is just gorgeous. You could really tell that you both put your heart and souls into it.
Yeah, he's a monster, man. I do what I can, but without him, I don't even know what it'd be like. Because I think a lot of artists, they have just a totally different style where it's not as detailed and stuff. And his is. And even Sam, when he does the covers, his details are crazy. Even just thread counts on clothes and stuff. Crazy stuff. So I love it. Yeah, I'm just and I want the art on the cover to be totally different than the art on the inside, but I want the tone to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we already kind of went a bit over the creative team right here. So for everyone that's watching, here is a look at them. Let's go ahead and dive into some of the rewards. Are these all going to coincide with the rewards on the side?
Yeah, everything coincides. Yep. 100%.
Cool. And for everyone watching, here is the link again. If you're unable to back, feel free just to share this on Twitter or Facebook. Word of mouth is 100%
tell
free.
Your mom and dad,
yes.
Tell anybody.
Tell grandma, grandpa, Christmas is coming up.
Tell anybody. This looks cool. Tell them. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And the physical copy is $5 with shipping, so it's $10. And then shipping is $5 on every single tier. And then digital is $3. I think the catch-up's $10. So you get every issue plus the color book plus black and white versions. And the deluxe digital issues have the Thesz reports in them already. So you get the Thesz report also. Don't worry about that if you're worried.
So is this the physical report package? That's what includes it?
Yeah, that's the physical Thesz report. Yeah.
Okay.
So people will actually be able to, and it's kind of cool too, because like I said, my sister put it together, so she'll have basically her own comic book at that point. The art will be Danielle's and stuff too. But man, yeah, it's just exciting. And I mean, I
really cool
stuff, but yeah, it's
so friend of the family package that gets you the name on the thank you page as well.
Yep, definitely. And then some of the other packages don't have that option, but then it's an add-on if you want to get your name on the page anyway. So I didn't have that in previous issues, and some people were like, "Oh, why isn't my name on the thing?" And I'm like, "Well, you didn't get the one that has your name on the thing." But
we have the physical catch-up package, $20. I think this is an outstanding price for the 3 issues, and that includes the Thesz report as well.
Yeah, so you get four little copies there.
That is awesome. And how many pages is that? Would you say?
Story-wise, it's about 80 pages of story.
That's an outstanding price right there. Holy crap.
Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is, and it's all 4 different things, and they'll all be in their own little, backer and board and everything like that. One other thing about those, that package, the physical catch-up package, is if you want the coloring book, it's an add-on. I put it as an add-on this time if anyone wants the coloring book, so go get it if you want to get coloring.
And then we have the digital physical combo for $25, so that gets you all 3 digital and physical as well, as well as the Thesz report too.
Yeah, it gets you everything and your name on the comic and everything like that, and the black and white versions in the digital. So, because a lot of people like black and white comics, and I don't blame them. So I always like to include that, so everyone gets to look at Danielle doing all of it. Man, Danielle's just a beast.
The art in this is really in depth and immersive. So I like the black and white. Just seems like it would just be a whole, almost like a horror film put over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially that second issue orc scene. Like, yeah, man, the gore is beautiful. But that's also the thing. I just feel like, to me, when I see it, man, I want it colored. And then when I see it colored, like, for instance, like Matt Harding's variant cover, like, he sent me that, and I love the inking and everything like that. But, man, when he sent me that colored version, I liked it a lot, too. But once I freaking printed it, those colors pop, man. That's like, something about the way he colored that cover is just so pretty. That's why I'm glad I'm getting that sticker for everybody. That's Matt's art, man.
You can advertise your comic for $50. So get a quarter page ad in issue 3 for $50. I think that's a pretty outstanding price too. I mean, I think that's probably one of the cheapest I've seen.
Yeah, like on the coloring book, I did a full page ad, and it was cool. But this time, I feel like I don't have enough room to sell like 4 pages. So I feel like, I can sell basically 2 whole pages. So I figure if everybody wants to, and this will get to more people than the coloring book did too. The coloring book had 70 backers. Like, we're already way past that.
Yeah,
so,
like, this has story and everything in it as well,
Yeah, but your ad will go into issue 4, or no, issue 3. I mean, my bad. So like, not in issue 1, 2.
Do you know in what spots of the book some of these ads might appear?
Yeah, it'll probably be right at the beginning. So like, you'll open the book, you get the thank you page, you'll get the credits page. And then you'll flip, and that'll be the ads, and then it'll be story time, and then in the back you get the RIP page as always.
I love the RIP page too, man. I gotta ask, what was your inspiration for doing that? Because when I seen it in the first issue and seeing that it was a thing in the second, I was like, man, this is a really, really cool concept.
I mean, there's no real inspiration other than me being a sick fuck, I guess. Like, I don't really know. Like, I don't know. Also, maybe it's easier to keep track of. Like, I don't know. I guess I like statistics. So,
are you planning on doing like a full, like maybe like with issue 6? Because I know I remember you saying you had like 6 issues planned out, if I'm not mistaken. But are you gonna do maybe like a full recap in the back, like of everyone who died, or any plans?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. That's actually not a bad idea, because it depends. Like, if nobody dies in that issue, I don't want to, like, yeah, that might be the time to do it, honestly. But we'll see. I don't know, because, like, yeah, I don't want to say anything really.
No,
pretty much.
You're good.
It depends. Like, maybe when I do, because I might do like a collected version, and maybe then I'll do that.
Okay, yeah, like a graphic novel.
Yeah, like, I'm not sure if I'll do that. I might actually go with like a publisher to do that. So we'll see.
So this is a really cool one too. So a personalized art package for $75. You get a personalized drawing of any fictional character you want from the writer. So this is from you. Like, that's awesome. How's that feel to be picking up the pen?
I mean, no one's backed it yet, so I don't gotta worry about it so far. But I was just like, one of these things where it's like, I know people like getting personalized art and stuff like that, but Danielle's busy making the actual art. And so I'm like, well, I could do it. So if anybody wants to hit me up, I'm not like as good as Danielle, obviously, but I can do a portrait pretty well, like to the point where you would know who it was and stuff. It won't be a stick figure. It won't be like a Larry David doodle.
Yeah, that's way better than I got.
Yeah, no, it'll be worth I'll put my time into your money's worth into it. That's for sure. But like I said, no, if no one backs it, whatever. That's no sweat either. It's kind of like a joke thing. Like, hey, what else can make us a little extra money, Because I didn't like this. This is a little high of a goal for, like, this is the highest goal we've ever tried. So I was like trying to think of things.
So you can be a background character in issue 4 for $100. Plus you're gonna get the 3 issues and the report as well. So that's pretty outstanding.
And you'll get the digitals. I'll probably I'll give you you get everything, but that's just what you see right there. But like, yeah, you'll get the sticker. But like, yeah, but if you're a background character in issue 4, it's gonna be the very first page too. So like, you'll get that art pretty soon after it's done. So, you won't get the physical copy until the, issue's out, but I like to send everybody their digital art when they commission it,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And then for another $100, for $200, you get a speaking role in issue 4. So become a resident in the world of Magic Powder. That's awesome. It become part of, potentially become part of the plot like that.
Yeah, and it's like, either way, you might end up on the RIP page, but if you become a speaking character, like, you'll actually get a name and stuff like that, all that kind of fun.
And if you die, like, all the deaths in this have been awesome, so.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to waste nobody's time or nothing like that. But so far, none of the commissioned people have gotten whacked, as they say. So everybody's still game for the next issue. Like, I think my aunt is one of the characters. She's going to be like at the very end, so she hasn't gotten drawn yet. Like I said, Anthony and Chris will be alive. They'll be around. They're a big part of the story arc because they wanted to be in it. Jason's character and Matt's character, they're going to be a bigger part of the next story arc, but they were only supposed to be background characters. Like, they paid for the $100 one. So most of the background characters, like, I might include you later as a big speaking character, But if you want to be a part of the most current issue, then $200 is probably your best bet. But at the same time, that's basically like you're paying a page, from Danielle himself, and then you get all this stuff for free. So that's pretty cool. But last time it actually did really well. I was surprised how many people actually wanted to be in the comics. So I'm pretty excited about it. If not this time, that's okay. But yeah, it's fun.
I mean, it costs you nothing to have that, right? Like,
no, it's just work for Danielle to make sure he gets it right and stuff like that. So it's more like on him. But that's why this next issue, the background characters will all be confined to like a very specific idea I have. And then the speaking characters, I have some cool ideas for that too. Even Strange Light, like I don't know what Strange Light's going to look like exactly yet. So you might get to be that crazy character we were talking about earlier with the thing on their head, just flipping channels in their mind. So, it depends if you want to be that. Or that character also has like a bodyguard kind of thing. So you might be that character. There's a character that, because every issue so far besides the first issue is named after a song. So the second issue was Raining Blood. This issue is called Dwarf Invasion. And then the next issue is called The Seeker, which is the Who song. So there's a character named that. So you could be maybe The Seeker. Like there's a whole bunch of different characters. Because I like to introduce new characters a lot. It's just fun.
No, I like the idea of song titles as well.
Yeah, it's just something like, I don't know. It's fun to do. I don't know. So I'll just probably keep doing it. But at least for this whole like series, it'll be that. The first 6 issues.
Here's a look at some of the add-ons as well. Name on the thank you page for $7. Extra copy of issue 1 for $6. Extra copy of 2 for $6. 3 for $5 as well. Then you can get the coloring book for $6, and then an extra copy of the Thesz report for $6. You can get this awesome sticker for $3. That's a pretty. I thought this was going to be more. How big is this sticker going to be?
Probably like 3x3. It's gonna be a big one, but like not too big because like there was like I don't want it to like because I got my stickers done and I was like, man, some of them don't fit where I want them to fit, but it'll be big enough. But yeah, this one, and it's gotta like give you that Minotaur feel. So yeah, it's gonna be big, maybe even 3x4. I haven't really even decided yet.
Digital bundle pack for $8.
Yeah, because a few people. My bad, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
But a few people they were getting the physical copies and they said they wanted the digital copies. Usually I include them all together. But I try to do some new things this time because I've seen other Kickstarters do different things. So we'll see how it goes. I
mean, it's worth a try too. After this is your fourth Kickstarter with the Magic Powder property. So I mean, why not try new things?
Yeah, exactly. And so like as long as we get that 100%, I'll be happy.
Yeah, let's get it. And then the last but not least, the Magic Powder sticker pack for $4. This is from issue 2, right?
Issue 2 and the coloring book had stickers. So you get the friend of the family sticker, you get the 2 breaker stickers. And that's it. And maybe a couple extras, honestly, just because I like to throw in extra stickers for everybody so they can stick them on like public places.
And this is actually from him tossing a coin to your Witcher guitar playing scene right here. And then this is from him selling the sword, right?
Yeah, it's the very first page of the very first comic. Him just skating in, and like that was something I just had in my mind forever. I'm like, it's gonna be a dope ass goblin skating down the street. That's and then let's
right here some of the goals. So fully funded at 5,000. We get the bookmark at 5,200.
And that'll be like it'll be like the Dwarvfather as like a bookmark kind of thing. It'll be art probably from the second issue that I have in mind for it. I'll probably say something down the line of the bookmark as well.
And then we have the new sticker at 5,400. So any hints at what that could be, or is that still kind of?
Yeah. It'll basically look like my Kickstarter profile picture, which is Arana with the mask on, and like in that green suit, with her blue skin and her black hair and stuff like that, and the lighting and stuff from the. So it'll be
pretty
from the
ominous
second
looking mask too.
Yeah, and that mask is important. Like it plays an important part. Like it has powers basically.
Oh, when I remember when I read it, it kind of gave me what was it, Court of Owls vibe to it from Batman. You know how it's like the secret society and
totally. And that's what it kind of like. Yeah, it's not meant to be that one, but yeah, it's kind of got that feel to it. But it's more like it was something like a goblin basically created to protect other goblins sort of thing from magic because they don't really know how to use magic. So
no, that's so cool to hear the backstory behind it.
Yeah,
and then old piece. We get the issue number 3 variant cover for 6,000. So this is the one by Matt Harding.
Yeah, Matt Harding will be killing that. And then, like you said, if you're a physical backer, no matter which tier, you'll be getting a free issue. So I don't like to do the variant cover as a tier because it splits up the audience, I feel like. And so, like, last time I only had to print, like, 60 variant covers, and I was like, well, that's the waste. So I'd rather, get 200. If there's 200 going out, I wanted to have 200 going out of both artists,
Okay, no, so that's awesome.
And then that was my main reason for that.
We get 2 trading cards at 65. So any idea of who those trading cards are going to be?
I mean, probably Dwarvfather and Arana. Those would probably be the most likely 2. But they'll also be around for a while, so I might go with characters that ain't going to be around as long.
Okay.
So I'll decide if we even get that far. I don't want to count my chickens or anything like that. But if we do get that far, my man Chris will probably be doing the art for that. So it'll be Danielle's art and then a card designed by Chris with the art. So that'll be cool.
And we have and I'm sorry if I butchered this pronunciation, Ignacio D. Meglio. Jumping in to say hi. Sorry I'm late. I'll have to catch the rewind. No worries on that. The rewind stays up. I want to say it's going to be up for probably about a week and a half, and then we'll have the edited version coming out. And you can catch that link here on YouTube, Facebook, everything, Twitter. We'll be posting it live to everyone. Now, Jeff, was this the Kickstarter in its entirety?
Yeah, we did. Wait, what do you mean?
Did we cover everything?
Yeah, we did add-ons, we did stretch goals. Yep, we killed it.
Beginning to wrap things up. And before we do that, though, what would you like to say to anyone who might be on the fence about backing this after just kind of going through it, taking a deep dive, and let's say they're kind of just right there on, teeter-tottering? What would you say to them to help push them over?
I would just say, it's an easy read. I would say I got to set my camera up again. I would say also, I don't know. I just don't think it's like anything else out there. I don't think anybody can say they got a comic book that's like Magic Powder. I don't think anybody can say anything's like it. So, if you want something that's totally different, come get it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like we talked about it so much. I don't know if that's not enough. Then you really probably aren't into it. So I'm not mad at you. I would say, support the artist if that's the last thing to say about it. You know what I mean? But I don't like to go to that as the last factor. Like, there's a million artists to support. So if you don't like what we're doing, go find someone else. But I think, if you like what we're doing, it ain't going anywhere either. So I understand, like, if you don't have money or something like that, we'll be here. So, don't worry about it. But if you do have the money and you are interested, please do back so we get this done, man. I want to get it done. Like, yeah, that's all it's about. Getting to everybody, keeping it going, keeping the artists, combined as a team and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
And even if you just think you sell the copies too. I remember, I think I hit you up on Twitter for issue 1, and you even, I love it right here. You might not be able to see it, but you said you signed it, Cody. Thank you for supporting the dream. And like, I love that so much. When I got it, I was like, dude, fuck yes. I always love when I get a signature on it. Yeah, my man. Like, yeah, and I haven't really signed very many of them. This time, I'll put it on the rewards. Like, at the end, I'll ask people if they want me to sign it. So I don't want to charge for a signature, even though, some people do, and that's cool because I know it's another way to get some like money rolling in. But like, yeah, I just can't do it because even when I go to like conventions and stuff, and I see people like, they want you to pay them to sign. I'm like, I'm good, man. But as far as it goes, I'd much rather have a high five than a signature. But like, yeah, as far as it goes, anybody who wants theirs signed, I'll be signing them. No problems, no fee, none of that crap. So yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I had a feeling you would enjoy that. So yeah, I like to personalize it if I can. You know what I mean? If I don't know who you are, like if you're just a guy on Kickstarter that I've never talked to on Twitter or anything like that, it's kind of hard to personalize it. But I'll figure it out. Yeah. So. You made a mention earlier that you had 6 issues planned out. Is that kind of the extent of where we're going to see this universe go, or do you have any future plans for maybe another arc? Oh man, it's like, first of all, like even this arc ends, I have an epilogue kind of issue planned for issue 7. Issue 8, I think, is going to pick up, and it's going to become kind of like, right now it's like almost like a Breaking Bad thing, right? So the next story arc, I would say, is almost like the movie Snatch. And so that's how I can describe that. And that'll probably be 4 issues. And then, it'll be a little tighter, a little quicker, stuff like that. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of characters will have already been introduced, so I won't have to do that with them. But there'll be new characters, stuff like that, new locations, all that kind of stuff. And then after that 4 issues happens, another arc is going to happen, basically, where it's more about, Thesz again and stuff like that. Like, you'll see. I don't know, because I don't want to you can't know. But yeah, no, I have tons of plans, man. I have freaking, like, how House of the Dragon has the spinoff now. It's like 125 years. Like, I got something about like 300 years in the past I would like to do a spinoff of, where it's almost like, I don't even want to say what genre it is, even though it should be obvious if you know me. But like, I want to do a Magic Powder in a different genre, kind of. And then, like I said, we're doing the video game, and that's going to be a prequel. So like, you're going to see how the Dwarvfather took over Thesz in the video game. You're going to take over Thesz, basically. Dude, let's go.
Yeah, so that's how that's gonna work. And then what else? Yeah, I think that's about it for right now. And then I have other ideas for other comics and stuff. Yeah, I just want to keep this main storyline going. Maybe do a spin-off, and like I said, video game. That's pretty much it. But the video game will be part of the storyline.
See, I gotta ask because I mean, what better question to follow up why to back than giving them the reason why? Because this universe is going to be expansive as hell. You're going to have, you know, after the initial 6 issues, there's going to be another 4, and then we're going to be diving into more. I mean, so back this issue today and get in early while you still can.
No, and that's a big thing too, is like, you know, the people who do buy characters and stuff, I want them to feel like they're going to get their money's worth. So it's like, yeah, you might pop up in one issue, but like really, you're probably going to pop up in multiple issues. And who knows how long, like, you know, maybe when issue 20 comes around, you're still around, you know, you're like one of those characters like people ask to come back and stuff. Like, I want to get to that point where people like are that into it. So, and there's enough story for that to even happen. Like, oh man, we missed this character. So like, yeah, I don't know. I've always wanted to do long form storytelling. And I feel like this is the best chance I've ever had at it. So, you know, like when Dragon Ball is still going, man.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do Dragon Ball. Like, I just want to do this for the rest of my life. Or
you
Star
know,
Wars,
it's crazy because after he went Super Saiyan for the first time, that's when it was supposed to be done. It was supposed to be done.
That's crazy.
And
I've even heard it was supposed to end even before that. Like when he was a kid, it was supposed to end even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, there's so many ways you hear about it, but like, man, I just love Dragon Ball, but I also just love the idea that you can just tell that story forever. And I hope mine, you know, that's the problem with Dragon Ball is like, you know, Goku's not really going to die. So like, that's not going to really be a problem in Magic Powder. So
yeah,
the story will be evolving all the time. I feel like that's the one difference between what I got going on in Dragon Ball. I still love Dragon Ball, and it does evolve in its own way, but this will be a lot different.
We're going to see goblins going Kaioken goblin mode, dude. Let's go.
Actually, yeah, I want to have a scene, like I'm going to tell you guys now because it's probably not going to happen for a while, but there's going to be a scene where like 2 of the characters that have already been introduced finally meet, and they're fighting, and it's like close quarters and all this stuff, and you think, you know, one guy's going to get the advantage, whatever, and someone Muda missed the other guy, like straight up out of his mouth, just, you know, mist in his eye, you know what I mean, spits in his face, basically, like the magic powder mist. So I can't wait to do the magic powder mist in a scene.
Oh, like that's gonna be cool.
So the great Muda.
I think right now would be the perfect time for us to begin ending things. Before we do that, though, I always love ending on a strong note, Jeff, and that is, you know, with this being a podcast where we really deep dive who you are and, you know, your book. It's also a nice platform for anyone new who's watching, you know, taking notes. Maybe they're trying to get into comics or script writing themselves. So for anyone who's watching and they're having trouble just getting going, what type of advice would you offer them just to, you know, get started?
I guess it depends. All right. So if you're like me and you don't want to do the art, you better have some money. You got to buy your way in. That's the trick. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, because no artist is gonna want to work with you. No artist worth anything is gonna want to work with you for free unless they know you personally and all that kind of stuff. Like if you go on Reddit and you go on comic book collabs and you put, you know, I'm looking to just work with a guy with my idea and you know, I just got ideas and I got everybody's got exposure. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Don't ever pay with exposure. People do not like that. It makes you look bad and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you're gonna have to buy your way in, or if you're me, if you're like a writer type. Okay, or you could go the rent hockey way, where it's like, you know, you just teach yourself how to do your own damn comics. You draw them yourself, you write them yourself, and you know, maybe you're not as experienced as other people, but if you practice and practice and practice, like anything else, you will get good enough. You know what I mean? If you study the different perspectives and things like that, you can make your own comic books without any money. It's going to cost you time, which is money. So that's up to you as well. Or if you're already a dope artist, you know what I'm saying, you have the skills already, I would say, you know, just start networking as much as you can. I would say, you know, Instagram's okay, Facebook's okay, but mostly Twitter. And Twitter's real easy to find comic books. Just type in Kickstarter and you'll just, you know, eventually you'll see artists hawking their stuff. So, you know, and basically you want to meet writers, you know, a lot of people like variants. So, you know, you just offer to do covers. I'm open for covers. I'm open for this. I'm open for this. You know, if you want to do the sequentials, whatever. And you'll find a guy who wants to pay you too. That's the beauty of it, because everybody's got to buy their way in. So if you can do the art, you're going to get paid. So make sure you pick a price that they can afford and that you feel is fair, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, it's all about promoting, really, to get people to read your book. And I guess it's also a matter of like making something interesting, because no matter how much you promote something, if it's not interesting, they're not going to want it. So, you know what I mean? And you can kind of tell by the way they react to it. You know what I'm saying? Like the very first time I posted the picture of Breaker skateboarding, people were like, what the? is this? You know what I'm saying? They never seen it. You know what I mean? They're, oh my god. And so, like, in my mind, I wasn't even gonna do a Kickstarter for the first like 12 pages. I was gonna do 2 like preview books, like 12 each pages. But people reacted so well to the one image. I was like, well, we got a winner. And that was it. So I put the whole first issue together, and then that's it. We did the Kickstarter, and the rest is history. So yeah, I would just say, make sure, you know, don't get cocky out there. You know, let the audience tell you what you got. If you think you got something great and nobody's interested in it, maybe it's not great. Maybe it is. I don't know. People are wrong too. That's a whole other thing. But you got to show you got to find an audience. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's how many people in this world. So like, you know, even if the people you do find don't like it, maybe you'll find some new people. I don't know. But in my experience, you know, just keep looking. I don't know. It's one of those things. But like I said, if you can make your own art and stuff like that, there's nothing really stopping you. So go do it. Just get your ass together. I don't know what else to tell you. Come up with an idea. I don't know. If you're old enough to be good enough at art, you should have a freaking idea by now. So do it. Just do the damn thing. And if you don't have an idea, well, hit someone up like that. You know, hit up those guys on comic book collabs that want to work for free. Then I don't know what to tell you. But like, yeah, have an idea, make it happen. I don't know. Those are the 3 ways you can go. That's how I see it. Or be a letterer, be a colorist if you're good at those things. Like, I'm not good at any of that stuff.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I'm good at talking. I'm good at writing. That's about it, man.
I got the coloring book. I was like, I'm not gonna ever color a damn page from this, but it looks pretty. I'm gonna get it because it looks pretty. But
it's fun to color. But like, yeah, I mean, I haven't finished any of the pages. Like, I'll just jump random pages. I'm like, oh, and I don't have my pencil sharpener in this place, so I can't really get my colors as sharp as I need them anyway. So
I'd be afraid that I would just start it and ruin it, and be like, I just freaking ruined this page now.
That's why, you could have got extras, but no, I mean, even now you can get one of the campaign if you're worried about that. But yeah, anyway, I would say, you know, you can't ruin something when you're having fun. But overall, it's not like you ever get. I don't think it'll ever be worth anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it'll be like that kind of thing. But maybe, who knows, man? Who knows? But I know a lot of people make jokes like that. That I know, like my friends, they're like, oh yeah, you know, I don't want to read this because I don't want to dent it. I'm like, man, are you kidding me? Just read the damn comic book. But that's what
it feels good too. I love the quality of the covers and everything.
Yeah, the very first one I printed with Mix'em Print, and then the issue 2 I printed with Comics Wellspring. What is it called? Greco Printing, and then Mix'em Print did the coloring book as well. So.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, guys, it is time for us to wrap up. It is a lovely Tuesday night. Tomorrow is New Comic Book Day. Treat yourself to a new book and make sure it is Magic Powder issue number 3. Jeff, thank you for coming by, breaking this down. This has been such an awesome podcast, dude. I know ever since I started doing this in February, I've been wanting to get you on, so I'm excited that we finally had the chance to kind of just get you on and break it down, man. Thank you so much. Everyone watching, have a beautiful night. Most importantly, keep it geekly.